Hello, I'm Dave Peach, and this is the Crawfordsville Peachcast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. See them in person or at tricountybank.net. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, an equal housing lender. Crawfordsville Peachcast. I'm Dave Peach. We are presented by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. And we're also sponsored by Central Indiana Rubber Products. And at this time, I bring in Dave Meyer. And when we talk about CIR providing the power for you, we always say,
hello, Todd. Hello, Todd. Happy holidays, Dave Peach.
It is that time of year. And you know, some people have asked me some questions, Dave, and I'm going to let you answer them, because when people ask me questions about myself, it's hard for me to answer because I don't know why I do this stuff myself. So how am I going to tell somebody?
I understand that.
Someone asked, how do I pick the movies?
Ooh, very good question. Very good question. You know, Dave, I've never even approached that. So I can answer for you. And what I will say is somewhat randomly, but there is a through line.
And that is?
Well, Michael Caine's one of them. I think, I'd say this. To begin with, we weren't looking at critically acclaimed movies, so we kind of took those off the board. We want the great Peachcast listeners to be able to access these easily. So the free YouTube with an occasional Tubi is a pretty easy follow. So that's part of the through line. But I think the random Dave Peach whimsical attraction would be my most general answer.
And sometimes I think, why are we doing this? What is the purpose of the Untoasted? I kind of think big picture every once in a while.
Right. How are we helping society with this?
Exactly. And at a church service, the church I attend here in Crawfordsville, Indiana, the pastor was preaching, and he said, my favorite Christmas movie, and he basically said the best Christmas movie of all time is
he didn't say The Swarm.
No, but he said the Muppet Christmas Carol.
The Muppet Christmas Carol. Okay, Dave. Well,
and there's more.
Maybe that's okay, because
there's more. Let me finish.
Lay it out.
Then you can react. So, because we have a sound system and all that stuff, he plays a clip from the movie, and there on the screen is
in church
Sunday morning, Michael Caine.
That's a sign from God, Dave.
It could be. I mean,
oh.
And what are we doing this week? A Michael Caine movie.
A Michael Caine movie, Dave.
If I had a mic, I'd drop it from the Eiffel Tower, baby.
Right now. And, we love nothing more than Michael Caine raising his voice. And this movie, if nothing else, offers that up more than once.
He's always in the know. He's always confident. He knows exactly what to do. The unfortunate thing is those around him don't always realize it.
Yeah, exactly. And he, and the way this movie, once we get into it, his first appearance is like, oh, this guy is not from Texas and is not, he's wearing a big collar leisure suit kind of deal in this military place. that he lands upon with his piercing blue eyes, Dave.
Paul Newman's got those blue eyes, too. He was in an Erwin Allen movie when time ran out. Maybe it was a thing for IA.
It could be. I mean, I think in this movie alone, you get the people in the room with the blue eyes. Besides, we've talked about Michael, but Richard Widmark, Dave, the general, big blue eyes. Richard Chamberlain, another blue-eyed guy. And Henry Fonda's blue eyes, of course, the old man leading the way. But this is Michael Caine's deal. He's in charge, and that's made evident really early, and other people are not exactly happy with it.
It is The Swarm. It's next on an Untoasted edition of the Crawfordsville Peachcast.
You dropped your cell phone, the car won't start, and now your email has been hacked. Yup. Ever had one of those days? Tri-County Bank can help with a protection plan powered by Bazing. This is Bria French. Contact any of our offices to see how Bazing can resolve those big issues. Terms and conditions may apply. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Crawfordsville Peachcast, they have that thing on NBC, Sunday Night Football, Dave?
I have heard it. It's America's night, right? It's a pro football night in America.
It is a big thing, and they've got that country music star, Carrie Underwood, and she sings.
Yes.
She sings. What does she say, Dave? She says, "I've been waiting all day for
Sunday night."
Sunday night. Now, if I could have a female singer, I would have her sing, "I've been waiting all week to talk about The Swarm."
The Swarm.
I've been waiting all week. I can't wait. Oh, finally here. It's like Christmas, man.
It is. This is our Erwin Allen end of the year fandango.
I don't know if we got another Erwin Allen, but I know it is The Swarm. It's the 20th movie that we've done. Michael Caine is in it. It was made in 1978. And we've got two guys named Richard, as you mentioned, Richard Widmark and Richard Chamberlain.
Yeah, I wonder if one of them went by Dick while they were shooting just to not have too many people turn.
Along with Widmark and Chamberlain, we've got Henry Fonda, Olivia de Havilland. We've got Fred McMurray, My Three Sons. We got Jose Ferrar. It goes on and on.
It does go on, including Slim Pickens making another Erwin Allen appearance, and Patty Duke, Dave, who I actually worked with on a corporate job.
How old was Patty Duke when this movie was out? 78.
78. Good question. Old enough that she's supposed to be pregnant, but I would think she would have been in her 30s at that time.
Oh, well, that's fine. Okay. I did not. You think of her as older, but then you realize it was 1978, so she was not as old as she was when you were thinking about her.
She wasn't the little girl Patty Duke.
No. We've got so many people, so many ways to go here. It is the Yuletide season, Dave, and I was wondering, kind of like in that movie, It's a Wonderful Life, when a helicopter crashes in an Erwin Allen movie, does an angel get their wings?
I believe so. And it's an angel. It's a Tinkerbell type angel. It's not just a regular angel. It's a go on and do the sequel angel.
The movie is The Swarm, and we'll get to the movie right now. Dave, you're kind of our plot summary guy. Get us started with this movie about bees, many bees, and actors with bees on them.
Lots of bees. Well, okay. This was actually based on a book, which, when you see the whole movie, and it's over, you're going, how is this based? Anyway, so 1974 book by Arthur Herzog came out in 78. Great cast. Obviously a good budget. But the premise of this is basically a scientist and a military task force are trying to prevent. It starts out with you see all these people that are gone and don't know why. And then it's determined that a large swarm of killer bees has invaded Texas. And that is, in and of itself, the whole movie. What happens when they come and who goes? How does it end? And this is, I wouldn't say one of our better movies, let's say.
Definitely did not do that well at the box office, even though, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. Segment 3 today, we're going to feature a book called The Golden Turkey Awards, and The Swarm features prominently in that book. We'll talk about that later, but one of the things I did pick up by reading about it in the Golden Turkey book was that they made about 1,400 prints of this movie, and that was seen as a bold move, and they were expecting big things. But Dave, can I say this? It
Please.
Wasn't to be.
It wasn't to be, Dave. The buzz just didn't turn out. Oh my goodness. But I tell you, one of the fun things about this movie, Dave, is Michael Caine is playing Dr. Crane.
That rhymes.
Dr. Crane, played by Michael Caine, yeah. And then General Slater is kind of his nemesis in Richard Widmark. But this is a funky movie with, it seems like as it goes, oh, there's another familiar actor of this era that is introduced, and it kind of goes on that way throughout almost until the kind of the crescendo of the plot. We're still meeting people and seeing how they're affected.
Well, let's start first and try to answer the question that the military people asked. It started on a military base, and there were, as you mentioned, there were some guys that were overcome by bees. We later find out they're at the control panel, and they have questions. They want to know what's going on, and all of a sudden they realize that Michael Caine is there, and he's a bee expert. Was Michael following the bees? Did they ever really address the question of why he was there?
Good. Now, he did make some comment at the beginning that he was tracking something. So that was at the very beginning when he's in there and they detain him because he is on a civilian on a military base and all these people are dead. So they are nervous. This is the premise of this is that it's taking place somewhere in remote Southeast Texas in the general vicinity of Houston. Marysville is, I believe, the fictional town that is close by. And that's where we meet that's where Fred McMurray and Ben Johnson are fighting it out over the affection of Olivia de Havilland.
Yeah, Lonnie Anderson wasn't living in Marysville at the time, so apparently you duke it out for Olivia de Havilland.
And she was the superintendent of schools. Didn't appear to be a large school system. There's a kid that plays a prominent role in this that I don't think grew up to be a good actor, because as a child actor, he was he ate up some screen in this film, but he wasn't too strong. But he has one of the scariest scenes, Dave. The kid's name is Paul. At one scene in the movie, he goes out with his parents to have a nice picnic. He's hanging close to the car, and mom starts to spray something, which attracts the swarm. They basically take out mom and dad. He jumps in the car, watches it happen. Obviously traumatized, drives. I don't know if he's old enough to drive, Dave, but he drives traumatized into Marysville and crashes into the town square, kind of bringing the plot into town.
Kind of a callback to the movie we did with Marlon Brando, The Wild One.
Yeah.
Just kind of making the way in, ruffling the feathers of the sleepy small town.
Indeed. And they're like, what's going on here? And along the way, let's see, Catherine Ross is a doctor that's involved here. And then we get Paul to the hospital, and he's hallucinating giant bees in the room. And Dave, that part of it was creepy for me, man. That was hard to watch.
It came with getting stung by the bees.
Right.
If you survived initially, you eventually were in a hospital and you were looking up kind of like in The Fly when you have the big fly.
It was scary and it was big, and somehow Michael Douglas just basically said, reach out there and it's not going to be there, and then it'll go away. And so Michael Douglas helped him get through that. But
Michael Caine, go ahead.
Yeah. Michael Caine.
Yeah.
Sorry. Jumping around. But Dave, Paul, we have the, revenge death child scene when he springs himself from the hospital before he's supposed to. His friends, we don't see it, but how did he get a hold of his friends to come by and bring his bike? Kind of a hole there. But he and the friends go out to the point of the attack with Molotov cocktails, and they light them on fire, throw them, set the bee swarm home base on fire, which does kill a few bees, Dave, but what does it really do?
There's not a lot, and they do have strategically placed trash cans that they can crawl under to escape from the bees.
That was my biggest question while I was watching this whole thing unfold, Dave, is I don't think they're going to escape because the bees can fly. But they thought that through, and these are not your general pick it up at the hardware store plastic trash can, Dave. These are the old school. They've got the stencil marked like city. Like they're the old school city trash cans they get under, and they can hear while they're in there the bees outside. But they manage through this plan to not die, but watch the swarm head into town. And at this point, Paul realizes maybe the Molotov cocktails weren't such a good idea.
It was a battle between science and military. I don't know who won.
Again, but you're right. Science versus military. At one point, Dave, Richard Chamberlain comes up with these pellets that Dr. Caine, they drop, and they think that that's going to be the way they get them. But somehow the bees don't go for it, right? And even Michael Caine says, they're not going for it. Like the bees can say, aha, whatever this is, they're trying to trick us. So let's not take the pellets.
You had to fill 2.5 hours of movie. There's no way they could go for the pellets that early. And one thing that I noticed, a couple things here, and just little, we'll get into what happens with the twirling stories. Erwin Allen, a lot like a Love Boat, where you just get the stories that just kind of go back and forth. Apparently preparing for a bee invasion pays well because Michael Caine, Dr. Caine, very well dressed, and one of those deals where seemingly income is not an issue for him.
No, we don't know the exposition, but he definitely is that industrialist with the unlimited bank account, and he's got friends, right? He says, call this guy my friend in the White House. He's the world's leading immunologist. And that, of course, is Henry Fonda. So he's got friends in high places. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to this. What about when Slim Pickens comes in? Because his son is one of the airmen that the bees have taken down. And they're sitting in a room full of body bags. And Slim comes in, hugging the body bag for like a 30-second, I don't know, whatever the equivalent. He didn't have too many of those scenes in any of his movies, Dave, that I can think of. Did you? Have you ever seen Slim try to feign that much emotional outburst?
He normally is kind of a comedic relief guy
Yeah.
Or
He was,
I suppose at
he was
one
our,
point,
the wine guy, right? In Towering Inferno.
I would put him in the category kind of like Festus in the old Gunsmoke. You know,
Oh, it's perfect, Dave. He is a Festus. He was a perfect Festus.
He's a funny guy in a funny situation, or he's a kind of a little comic relief in a serious situation.
Right. Okay. Let's talk Fred McMurray, and this was his final film. He is the mayor and also a shop owner, I guess.
Yeah, drugstore owner.
Drugstore owner, and
got plenty of time on your hands. I mean, you're a druggist. You can be mayor. It's easy.
He's all those things, and he has, for some reason, I guess, known Olivia de Havilland his entire life.
30 years. 30 years.
But waits until this bee attack thing to start competing with Ben Johnson for her affection. Now, how many love triangles can we have? Because at one point, Catherine Bach and Michael
Catherine Ross. You're going Dukes of Hazzard.
I'm going Dukes of Hazzard.
I miss Catherine Bach in this baby.
Yeah, I'm all over the place with these last names. But we also, at one point, tell me if I'm wrong here, was Patty Duke falling in love with her doctor? Was that happening too?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and then we got Lee Grant as the out-of-town reporter. Okay, another important kind of stereotype in these movies.
Loved her in The Omen.
Loved her in The Omen. I wasn't sure what all she was going to do.
Was she in The Omen 2? The Omen and Omen 2, or just Omen 1?
Possibly. That's we need our fact checkers to report in on some.
She was in at least one of them, David, and she was a reporter, kind of a role that perhaps reminiscent of Jane Fonda in the movie. What was that? The nuclear
China
thing.
Syndrome.
Yeah, thank you.
The China Syndrome, exactly. Yes, that's a good one. There's a weird alligator movie, Dave, that Oliver Platt plays the same character in. Again, I'm starting to sound like my parents, Dave, with less concrete information that I share.
Now, the debate, one more debate. Yes. Michael Caine made a point to talk about African versus Brazilian bees. There was a discussion, and it appears this is a thing. Is this something that the movie wanted to address in some way? And ultimately, Michael said, I will call them African.
Yeah, I don't. For some reason, I felt like Richard Chamberlain was feeling defensive, like the Brazilian bees were his stock in trade, so he was not going to give that up. But yes, he's basically Michael Caine said we are being invaded by a mutant version of the killer African bee, not the Brazilian.
Well, but there was a Brazilian of them.
There was a Brazilian. That's good, Dave. That is good.
Again, I've been waiting all week to sprout these babies. Now, another thing about I want to talk about the terrain of Texas. Can we talk about the terrain of Texas?
Okay. Are you talking about when we're on the train, Dave?
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a part of Texas that is like the Swiss Alps? I kind of thought it was a flatland, but maybe I don't know. Particularly around Houston, I
felt like there was a combination of like they bought some stock footage of a train derailment, and then they were matching it in some way. I don't know, but yes, Dave, in this version of Texas Southeast, there are mountains.
I could be totally wrong,
and the trains are on those mountains and cliffs, Dave.
Is there not like an interstate they could travel or to get away? I mean, an isolated train going up a mountain that's about as steep as the one on The Price is Right with the mountain climber guy.
Dave, we saw it coming. You could see it coming. They're ordering lunch there. You got Fred McMurray sitting next to Olivia, and the next thing you know, they're all goners because one of the guys that was driving the train slapped and killed a bee, I believe.
Yeah.
And that brought the wrath of his brethren into the I guess the furnace room or the engine room of the train. And Dave, that was it. Boy, what about these actors that had to endure some time with a whole lot of bees on them?
Yeah,
That looked real.
Particularly the couple at the beginning of the movie. But I will say this. I want to say one more thing about the trains, and then we can talk about having bees on you. I don't think in movie history there were more characters dumped than in that train scene. I mean, how many people? Okay, well, we won't see them anymore.
No, it was multiple cars. We're talking. It had to be hundreds. I think they said 17 survived or some. That was the ticker tape thing we saw. They didn't really even say how many, or that the fact that some of the aging stars that had billing in this movie are now gone.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about them anymore. And then you talked about the actors, particularly the two at the beginning of the movie, with all the bees on them. I would assume it's some sort of Hollywood deal that they bring in a bunch of bees that don't have stingers, and these people do not mind having their bodies covered with bees while they film.
This is a great question. I did read the estimates of the number of bees used in production range between 15 and 22 million, including 800,000 bees with their stingers removed that enabled them to be working safely with the actors. And there were 100 people that were fully employed, just dedicated to care and transport said bees. However, Olivia de Havilland was stung once during. And Dave, Fred McMurray retired after this one, and not due to a bee sting, but he died in 1991.
He's got a fantastic voice.
Oh,
Fred McMurray. He's kind of like a poor man's Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah. Great. Besides My Three Sons, if you've ever, the movie The Apartment, Jack Lemmon, Billie Holiday directed, I believe, about 1960. So, yeah, Fred, most of us know him as Steve from My Three Sons.
Now, we go later in the movie to the flamethrowers.
Oh, yeah.
Because they just say, okay, we're just going to burn, they're going to burn Houston down, right? Is that
that's kind of like, that's the unfortunate is the city is going to be burned in the final hopes of delaying the swarm.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and there's problems with guys with flamethrowers, working around a city.
Yeah. Generally.
Yeah. But were they not, okay, they were down, they had pretty much dumped the strategy of Michael Caine in the movie. It was not working. After the train thing, I think they pretty much said, okay, we're going to now put it back in the hands of the military people. But
yes,
were they not using the flamethrower in the building that Michael Caine and the general were in?
That's a great question, Dave. I'm wondering why the flamethrowers were really just showing up en masse there at the end. That I would have had a few out early on when they were coming hard and fast. But no, that was Michael. The pellet plan missed. The train goes over, and at that point, the conclusion was they need another way.
Ultimately, though, Michael Caine does come back somehow.
Yes.
Somehow, he remains unstung, while so many other people have met their demise. And then somehow, Catherine Ross, she was stung, but she's fine.
But she's somehow fine. Yeah, I don't know, Dave. This was a bad movie that they spent a good deal of money on
back in the day, and kind of Henry Fonda, a very strange ending in the movie with a tape recorder.
Yes. No, I'm thinking in my head, this movie may have been the most important thing for him doing on Golden Pond when somebody said, You don't want to be remembered for the swarm, do you?
Well, I would love to
Possibly.
be remembered for the swarm, but if you're Henry Fonda, perhaps not.
No, it quite a way. So I guess we should say, how does it end, Dave? Because the bees do attack Houston, and we go, okay, well, what's happening now? If we're going to have to burn the city, and they come up with a plan.
The plan is to emit, or I should say, the plan is to use a sound to attract the bees, because bees are doing what bees do, and they create a. I mean, you might watch this movie, but again, you may not. So, spoiler alert: they attract them out to the ocean where they have a conveniently placed oil slick that they've created, and then they burn them at the end.
In the end, Dave, they burn them.
Yep.
They attract them through these loudspeakers. They get them out to sea. They douse them with water and oil and set it on fire. And in the end, what is it? He says, she goes, is it victory? And he says, what does he say? If we use our time wisely, the world just might survive.
It was the bees that almost did in mankind in the movie The Swarm. David, any final thoughts? And I always ask the question, what does it all mean?
Well, this was the era of the big scare, right? And it was every potential kind of natural disaster run amok. I was afraid of bees growing up. If I would have seen this, it probably would have haunted me for, at least a week. But I would say today it's kind of funny, Dave. It's kind of funny. So if there's a game you play watching old disaster flicks, this should be included on that list.
I would agree. It is The Swarm, 1978 on Untoasted, and we've got more, including we're going to go over the Golden Turkey Awards. This movie was an award winner. That's next on the Crawfordsville Peachcast. Central Indiana Rubber Products provides the power for you. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, keeps farm equipment and local manufacturing processes running with gaskets, belts, seals, and O-rings, among a variety of other products and services. Employee-owned and always customer-focused. Central Indiana Rubber Products, 989 West, 83 North, Crawfordsville, and at indianarubber.com. Central Indiana Rubber Products, or CIR, power for you. Segment 3, Crawfordsville Peachcast. Dave Peach and Dave Meyer. And Dave, at a garage sale sometime after 1980, I picked up a copy of the Golden Turkey Awards, Harry and Michael Medved. And in this, they've got the most badly bumbled bee movie of all time, BEE movie.
Ooh.
The nominees are The Bees, 1978. That movie came out before this movie.
Big year for bees, though.
Well, they thought that they would, get a jump on The Swarm. I mean, The Swarm was supposed to be, you're talking about Poseidon Adventure and Towering Inferno. Erwin Allen, they felt was going to have a hit on his hands. Then the Deadly Bees in 1962. The Invasion of the Bee Girls, 1973, and also nominated The Swarm, 1978, with a wonderful picture of Henry Fonda. And this, again, is from the Golden Turkey book. Scientist Henry Fonda shows boundless enthusiasm for his featured role in The Swarm. And actually, Henry Fonda looks like he's under duress.
He does look tired, Dave. He looks like he tried to fit this one in.
And it obviously won for most what is it, the most badly bumbled bee movie of all time.
The most badly bumbled bee. And what do you get for that? What do they say about it?
Let's see. Not only did this $12 million disaster cost more than all the other bee movies combined, but its script guaranteed it a place in the pantheon of all-time bad films. There are abundance of lines in The Swarm to warm the heart of even the most jaded connoisseur of cinematic masterpieces. Among them, we'll read them here. Richard Widmark. I'm going to be the first officer in the U.S. battle history to get his butt kicked by a mess of bugs. Richard Widmark. So Houston on fire. Will history blame me or the bees?
Ooh, boy. Good stuff, man.
Air Force pilot. I've got more, Dave. I've got
going, Dave.
Three more. Air Force pilot. Oh, my gosh. Bees, bees. Millions of bees. They're all around me. Bees, bees. I get the point. School teacher Olivia de Havilland makes an announcement to her students over a public address system. Attention, a swarm of killer bees are coming. And we've got snickerdoodles in the cafeteria after school for you folks. Richard Widmark on as a general on Bee Patrol. One more time from Widmark. I always credit my enemy, no matter what he may be, with equal intelligence.
Oh, that was one of my favorites, Dave. Well, in looking up, as you did, some of the reviews at the time, Richard Velt in the Wilmington Morning Star stated The Swarm may not be the worst movie ever, but I'd have to see them all to be sure. He went on to say all the actors in this fiasco should be ashamed. And from Newsweek, Dave, James Baker said, it may be early, but it's probably safe to nominate The Swarm for the worst movie of the year. So people were watching it, Dave, from all those prints that were made.
They're nitpicking. That's all. It's just nitpicking. Now, the worst credit line of all time. This movie actually has 3 entries in the Golden Turkey Awards. This is the worst credit line of all time. It nominated The Swarm. The African killer bee should not be confused with the hard-working, industrious American honeybee, which provides us with honey and pollinates our flowers. So if any of those honeybees are watching this movie, you don't want to offend them.
You don't want to offend the honeybees or the honeybee people, or let people think that our honeybees are going to take out helicopters and trains if we spray and try to set them on fire in Texas.
And also another entry for The Swarm in worst lines of romantic dialogue in movie history. It chronicles the love affair, or I guess the unrequited love. Is that how you say that?
Yes,
Fred
I
McMurray
so.
And Olivia de Havilland.
Exactly.
It took him 30 years to muster up the courage.
Who were you rooting for there, Dave? I was kind of rooting for Ben Johnson just because he seemed a little more edgy.
Yeah, I think in that battle between Fred McMurray and Ben Johnson, I give the edge to Johnson. McMurray with the more direct approach, I think always is a loser. I think if you play hard to get, you're probably working the odds.
I believe so. I think Fred would have not fought dirty, and I think Ben would have.
Yeah. I don't. I would say you don't. Normally, you hard to get is gonna win the day. Cutting pictures out of magazines and sending them to the lady, probably not going to work.
Probably not going to work. Well,
even
Dave,
though they didn't do it in this movie, and I don't know whoever would do that.
Oh, I don't know.
But
I will. As I look back at my notes, I have one more. My favorite line, I think, was Lee Grant saying, "Get it all on tape." Yeah, she wants her camera guy to stay out while the bees are swarming. She's going to get in the van, okay? But she says, "Get it all on tape."
Well, we got it all. We got it all on tape today, Dave.
We did, Dave. Why? Quite the Erwin Allen disaster finale for this year's toasted Erwin Allen year.
Untoasted, we had number 7, When Time Ran Out, with Paul Newman. Number 14, Beyond Poseidon Adventure, with our good friend Michael Caine. And number 20, The Swarm, with our good friend Michael Caine. And Dave, I'm happy to announce, coming in 2024.
I'm ready.
We've got it. Here we go. We've got The Candidate with Robert Redford.
Okay.
The Program with the late, great James Caan.
Ooh.
And it's not Erwin Allen, but why not Meteor?
Meteor. Tell me about
Meteor.
that.
Meteor. It's
Meteor.
like Meteor, not Meteor. Yeah, it's Meteor and with a T. I'm sorry. Meteor.
Okay. Meteor.
It's from what I understand, it's a movie about an attack of meteors. Maybe I don't do meteors attack. It's meteors causing problems.
We'll be ready, Dave.
We've got
We'll be ready.
It is the Crawfordsville Peach Cast. Dave Meyer is with us. I'm Dave Peach. We are presented by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892, and also Central Indiana Rubber Products. 1, 2, 3. Hello.
Hello, Todd.
Thanks for listening to the Crawfordsville Peach Cast, sponsored by Tri-County Bank, your community bank since 1892. Tri-County Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. I'm Dave Peach. Join us every Thursday for a new episode on Apple or Spotify. Please like, subscribe, and download the Crawfordsville Peach Cast. This podcast was produced and edited by Up There Media and is a presentation of Fork Broadcasting Digital.